Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be keeping with the trend of I build everything on this hot rod, and I'm going to be building a fuel cell. So I've got some material out. I'm going to start material prepping and fast forward a little ways, and then we'll get into the cool stuff. So anyways, I'll talk you through the way. Hope you enjoy. I've got a Scotch-Brite wheel here. This material's been sitting outside for a while, so this will do the job cleaning it up. So, laid out my 4 side pieces. These are 10 tall and 20 long. 2, 3, 4. Got these guys cut and got these guys cleaned up and laid out, and I'm gonna get these guys cut. The easiest way I know how to cut this sheet aluminum is either with a bandsaw, which we'll do later, or a skill saw. But the skill saw is real friggin' loud. So, that's what we're doing earplugs for right now. And the eye protection and the hand protection, and then we cut. And that makes quick work of that. Now we'll clean the burrs off a little bit, and these 4 pieces are ready to fabricate. So I went online, I found a volume calculator. I'm gonna go with a dimension of 10.5 by 10.5 by 20 inch wide, with a small sump in the back so we don't ever starve from fuel, which will work out being about a 10 gallon tank. Next, I've chosen my piece that's going to be my floor, and like I said, I'm going to be adding a sump underneath here. So I've laid out 3 spots for holes for where my fuel tank is going to drain into my sump. Being that I'm running 10 fuel lines that are 1/2 inch hose, you need to make sure that your sump can be filled faster than it can be drained. So I'm gonna go with 3 1/2 inch holes. That should be enough to allow the fuel in the grid that I laid out. I feel like that'll stop slosh from the fuel getting back out of the sump. So the fuel cap I'm going to use is 12 bolts on a 5 3/8 circle. So what I did, you saw me take my compass, set that to half of the distance, 2 11/16. I swung a circle. You can use a square to get your 4 corners. Now I did the math of 5 3/8 pi, and I got my number, divided by 12, and I got my number, and that's what you saw me set my compass. I can swing. It's 1.40 between holes on a circle. So I've got my compass set. I'm going to swing that one. We're going to swing that one. And then this is going to be hard to do one-handed, but I'm going to set that pointer right on there. This is going to check our bolt pattern. I'm going to swing that one. So that is set perfect. Now I can get my 12 bolt pattern. I'm sure there's an easier way, but that worked. I've got my bolt pattern for my cap. Now I got to put a hole so I can actually get fuel in this thing. It appears the cap I have only has like an 1.5 inch tube for the inlet, but I'm gonna make like a 3-inch hole or whatever the easiest way to get this hole in here. Last thing in the lid, I need to have a vent hose. I don't think I want to put it too far back. Because I don't want acceleration to pump this thing out. I don't think I want it too far forward. I don't want deceleration to pump this thing out. It's a drag racer. So, how about right in the middle? Let's put the vent right in the middle. I think that's the least chance of any sloshing getting out. Obviously, we're gonna have check valves and a loop in the breather, but I'm trying to do my best here. Well, now I've got my floor pre-drilled and my lid made. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna assemble the 4 biggest sides of this tank so I can make sure I get my end caps cut to the perfectly right size. And then we'll worry about a sump. So, here we go. A little bit of dirtiness still. First corner fit up, looks real nice, even reveal. Using some blocks just to hold this thing together. Now we're gonna come over, fire up this bad boy. Hey. Gonna be running pure argon today. And since this is a fuel cell, I've had bad luck with these things cracking. So I'm gonna be using 53/56 1/8-inch fill rod today. So I'm gonna get to putting this thing together. We'll be back shortly. Piece I'm cutting my fuel cell parts from is starting to get a little small, so I really don't feel good about using a skill saw on this guy. So now we're gonna go and use the bandsaw. All tacked up. I've got tacks everywhere, all the corners, every 3 inches or so, all the way around here. I'm gonna get to welding this thing now. I still have to build a sump, but this thing's gonna get extremely hot, and I kind of want to spread that over some time so I can weld some, work on the sump, let it cool down. If it all works out, it'll all get done at the same time. And now I'm working on my sump. There's not really a formula or an equation or a right or wrong way, I don't believe. If there's a wrong way, I'm gonna learn it. That's how I roll. So, I got my holes in the bottom here, and I figure I'll make, I don't know what size sump, something that looks right. But that looks about right. I'll put my bung there in the top. That guy will hang down about like that off my fuel cell. That'll work great. Put my bung there, center it up over the hole. I can get a welder on the bottom. We're also very close to the bottom. That'll do the trick. Put the finishing touches on our fuel cell and our fuel sump. Last little piece here for my sump. That fits real nice. So here's our fuel cell and here's our sump. Now I get to weld that guy on there, and then I get to weld that guy on there, and we got a whole fuel cell. And now it's time to fit my 10 AN breather and fuel delivery. Breather return and fuel delivery. Shit. Well, I had a total brain fart. I had my breather, I had my fuel feed, I didn't do a return. So I'm gonna poke another hole right here. I tried to do this before. I put all this together to keep the shavings out, keep this thing clean, but it's still doable. Tried to be smart, just not quite smart enough. What I don't want to do is let this get in my sump, so I can hear a little bit of stuff running around in there. And that's a wrap. Got a fuel cell built. Thing looks pretty good. Considering I don't weld every day, I'm pretty happy with the outcome. And there's the lid. Get my fuel cap ordered, and this thing's complete.